Let's get into it.
Their stated plan was to cause an uprising in Iran,
Yep.
which would lead to the toppling of their government. Then all Israel and the United States will have to do at that point is to assassinate a few of the Iranian beloved leaders.
And you know what's so crazy? As duplicitous as this is, I low-key wished it worked. I wanted it to work. I'm gonna be real with you. I wouldn't even be here if that would have fucking worked. But it is what it is. And I'm gonna be real with you. Let's be real. I mean, they should have known that wasn't going to work, but they've been lying about the demographics in Iran or the support for the government in Iran for years. So, hey, they probably was going off that type of intel, thinking that they can get some type of revolution going. And all they did was, well, I ain't gonna lie. Iran, like, look, these are the reported numbers. Reported numbers that Iran killed about 5. They say 3,000, but a lot of people are saying about 5 to 6,000, and that's like what's verifiable. This is what's coming from verifiable sources. Now, what's not coming from verifiable sources is the 30 to 40,000 plus. Yeah, no verifiable sources has been able to sit there and prove that 30,000 Iranians were killed. But there are sources to prove that 3,000 were killed. So, 3,000 plus were killed, but not 30,000.
Then boom, they can install a Zionist-friendly Iranian government.
This is a good example of just exactly how war propaganda works and how the media plays along and how the government is always constantly lying to you. And remember they were telling you about, their people are protesting against their oppressive government in Iran. And then Iran, for no reason, just starts slaughtering their protesters.
Yeah, like, you know what? I got it for you right here. Okay, guys? Shout out to our guys over there at ChatGPT. But it's right here. All right, so some reports estimate that up to around 30,000 people were killed during the January protests in Iran, but this figure is not fully verified. The official Iranian count was just over 3,000 deaths. Excuse me, while independent groups and leaked hospital data suggest it could be significantly higher. Not 30,000 higher, but what I've been seeing is about about that 3,000 all the way out to 6,000 higher. Now, there's a large range and the exact number remains unclear due to communication blackouts and limited verification. In short, there is evidence of a high death toll, because I'm gonna be real, 3,000 is a high death toll. I mean, shit. But the exact number cannot be fully confirmed. I mean, look, if you know more than PBS, if you got more than them, Wikipedia, the Iranian massacre is crazy. Hold on. What? Hold on. Yeah, the 2026 Iran massacre is what they're calling it, where 3,000, yeah, that's a massacre. I ain't gonna lie, that's effed up. And let's see, well, not by China standards, apparently. Let's see here, disappeared bodies, mass burials, around 30,000 dead. What is the truth of Iran's, and even The Guardian says it too. It's not verified. So you can go to anywhere when it comes to, actually, these are the main perpetrators right here. Iran International. These are the only guys saying that they have some type of what? I'm trying to remember. Here it is. Obtain classified documents and field reports account from medical staff, witness, and victims' families. Yeah. Now, they have not they have not posted these classified documents at all, nor have they given the field reports or anything like that to where we can get these 30,000 names plus. So, like I said, it's not verifiable. I know as much as you want to believe it and all that good stuff, which I don't know why you'd want to believe that, but it's not true. As far as we can verify right now, as far as things go, no. All right, let's get back to it.
Remember they were telling you about, their people are protesting against their oppressive government in Iran. And then Iran, for no reason, just starts slaughtering their protesters. There's such horrible, horrible, horrible people in Iran. We have to free their people. Well, those protests, as I've told you before, were engineered by the
United States. Those protests too, the protesters, right? They were shooting at the police. So here's the thing, though. If they weren't peaceful protests, yes, they weren't. They didn't. There were peaceful protesters in there, yelling about, the government sucks. They let inflation get out of control and all that good stuff. But there were people in there that was given guns by the Mossad and CIA who was out there shooting at police. And this is where police start shooting into these crowds and all this. And this is where the deaths start getting in there, or the death toll start going up. And I believe, honestly, what was it? Out of those 3,000 dead, I believe like what 400 or 500 of them were police officers. So yeah, and I'm always, and here's the thing, like I said, it's bad enough 3,000 dead died, but what kills me is that we kind of told these people that we'll have their back, and we didn't, and we let them go hard, thinking that we were gonna have their back, and look what they got out of it.
For people. Well, those protests, as I've told you before, were engineered by the United States. They were engineered by the Mossad and the United States. So what the United States did first was they put these horrible, crippling economic sanctions on Iran, meaning nobody could do business with Iran, and they also collapsed their currency, their dollar. So their banks started to fail, their currency fell and they couldn't have any kind of an economy. So people came out to protest. We have to do something about this. And then the Mossad went and they gave the Mossad was the one giving people guns.
Yep.
And they started shooting cops, and they started burning down mosques, and that was all from the Mossad and the United States. So the United States so that was all.
Yeah, and like everybody started calling out how funny the protests were looking. One, when they start burning down civilian buildings and start burning down cars, and it's just like, hold on, why are you burning cars that citizens use? That could be a person that don't even support the Ayatollah, but you're over here burning their car, you're burning buildings, you're burning mosques, and I'm just like, hold on now. It's like, now you're doing too much, and this is seeming a bit like manufactured.
Made up. And so the reason why the Iran government started shooting protesters is because the protesters were infiltrated by the Mossad, given guns, weapons, and satellites to coordinate, and they were burning down the city, burning down police departments, mosques, and they were killing cops. That's why that happened. That never got reported here in the United States, but now the New York Times is going to admit it, now that it doesn't matter.
Yep.
Now that it doesn't matter, the New York Times is going to tell you the truth about this. You ready? The New York Times has essentially confirmed that Israel played a role in stimulating the violent regime change riots that left around 3,000 dead. They'll tell you 80.
Let me see if I can read some of this in the back, because it is a bit wild. Like, instead, Mossad's strategy during the period was to try to weaken the government until it essentially surrendered to Israel and American demands, using a combination of crippling economic sanctions, which Scott Besson admits to employing, and operations to assassinate Iranian nuclear scientists and military leaders and sabotage nuclear facilities. Man, damn, it was going all out. All right, over the past years, as the prospects of Israeli military actions against Iran become more likely, Mr. Brenda reserved Mossad's approach. Let's see here, devoting the agency's resources to plans that could lead to topple the government in Tehran in the event of a war. Huh. Well, man, they trying their ass off.
They just make up numbers. They would say, oh, Iran killed 80,000. They would say 30,000. Then they'd say 70. They just make up a number.
Literally.
But the real number is around 3,000 dead.
Literally, like I said, I was just like, bro, it was from 30,000 to 40,000. People was even saying 100,000. I was like, all right, man. That's why I had to go look this ish up. And I'm just like, look, I'll go ahead and read it out again for you guys. But yes, some reports estimate that up to around 30,000 people were killed during the January protests in Iran, but this figure is not fully verified. The official Iranian count was just over 3,000 deaths, while independent rights groups and leaked hospital data suggest it could be significantly higher. There's a large range. This is why I said it's probably from 3,000 to 6,000. But yeah, there's a large range, and the exact number remains unclear due to communication blackouts and limited verification. In short, there's evidence of a high death toll, because 3,000 is a high death toll, but the exact number cannot be fully verified. So yeah. And I was asking, I was like, so there's no way to confirm it? He's like, yeah, while there are I ain't gonna lie. Yeah, while there are varying assessments from different groups, the numbers from inside Iran, such as official figures, are much lower than what external sources claim. Key thing, external sources, aka not inside Iran, but telling you how much people died in Iran. I know, right? Without independent verification, the exact scale is hard to pin down. So yes, Nothing is fully confirmed at that scale. So no, let's be real. It's more of like a to be continued type of ordeal. Let's not jump to conclusions here.
In Iran this January 8th and 9th, but which were marked in the West as pro-democracy protests. So here's what he's talking about. Israel thought it could spur rebellion inside Iran. That hasn't happened. This is from March 22nd. So now, just like Jon Stewart in my last segment, now that it doesn't matter and it's safe to tell you this, the New York Times is going to tell you the truth. Back then they wouldn't. Now they will. And here's what President Trump hopes that an Israeli plan to ignite an internal uprising against Iran's theocratic government could bring the war to a swift end, have so far been dashed.
Yeah, at least they honest now.
Instead, Mossad's strategy during the period was to try to weaken the government until it essentially surrendered to Israeli and American demands, using a combination of crippling economic sanctions and operations to assassinate Iranian nuclear scientists and military leaders and sabotage nuclear facilities. Over the past year, it sounds like a full-on escalation of war from Israel and the United States against Iran before the actual hot war even started. Over the past year, as the prospects of Israeli military action against Iran became more likely, Mr. Barnea, and Mr. Barnea is the guy named David Barnea.
Yeah, make sure to double tap that screen like the video, guys. Let's get more people on the conversation by double tapping that screen and liking the video, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. All right, guys, let's keep it going.
He's the current head of Mossad. So the head of Mossad, Mr. Barnea, reversed Mossad's approach, devoting the agency's resources to plans that could lead to toppling the government in Tehran in the event of a war. In recent months, according to officials, Mr. Barnea came to believe that Mossad could potentially begin igniting riots around Iran after several days of intense Israeli and American airstrikes and the assassination of senior Iranian leaders. So that's their plan. That's always been the plan. That's how they do it. And then they arm people inside Iran and say, go start being terrorists against your government and your people around you. It was well understood by the Mossad that those riots would help stimulate military action by Trump. So when Trump sees, oh, look, so they tell Trump, and whatever Trump is told is what he thinks. So they go, so Netanyahu and his son-in-law, Kushner, and they go, well, hey, look, the Mossad is going to, these riots that the Mossad has instigated, it's going to, see, we could overthrow the government. All we need to do is do a little military action. We got these people. They'll rise up. And so Trump goes, sure. That's what Max is saying. Israeli intel merely needed to convince the feeble-minded president that a wave of decapitation strikes would unleash a massive upheaval to immediately topple the Islamic Republic. The January riots were presented to...
So, guys, when they said it was the Iranian people actually going against their people, no, it was a bunch of armed people who were against the government, but they got guns from the Mossad and they started shooting at the police. And I'm be real with you, they put the protesters who were peacefully protesting in danger. So it is kind of effed up. Like I said, everybody was trying to deny this. Everybody was trying to say, oh, it's always about Israel with you guys. But no, guys, when it comes to Iran, Israel's just that crazy about toppling them. Y'all got to understand. Like, Israel has a real thirst, a real bloodthirst to see Iran fall.
Trump as a preview of what was to come. And of course, Trump believed it because he doesn't know anything. Western media, including the New York Times and The Guardian, played a central role in legitimizing Israel's deception by falsely characterizing the violent regime change riots as mere protests. Massively inflating the death toll. Like I told you, they were saying, oh, they killed 80,000 of their own. So they massively inflated the death toll and covering up the fact that many were murdered by the Israeli-backed rioters themselves.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It turned out to a full-out gunfight between the guys who got armed by the Mossad and Mossad themselves and the police. And then the protesters in the middle Because like I said, bro, these guys, I ain't gonna lie, bro. The Mossad guys and the protesters who were giving guns, they were firing from behind the peaceful protesters. So pretty much hitting the police and hitting them, basically using them as human shields, by the way, while the Iranian police is trying to shoot these guys, and they're also shooting at the protesters who's also in between the fire coming from them. It's like effed up situation all around, to be quite honest. Effed up situation all around. Sick
the whole of Western media and
it's sick that the Mossad even like tried this, knowing damn well they were going to get protesters, innocent protesters involved.
Western human rights industrial complex deliberately misrepresented the real character of those riots. Even though when you came here to the Jimmy Dore show, we told you the truth about those riots. You can't get it from the New York Times. You can't get it from CNN, Fox, MSNBC. You ain't going to get it from the Washington Post. You have to come to places like this with a jagoff comedian hosting a show on YouTube.
Literally. It's like, bro, even I was calling this out at the beginning. Even I was going like, I'm not going to lie, I don't believe 30,000. And I mean, let's be real, like 30,000 in a couple of days? Like, bro, what did they do? Drop a bomb on them? So, no, it's really hard to believe 30,000 when to even get to those numbers, man. You got to damn near carpet bomb a place for that. But, hey, man, you know, people want to believe what they want to believe.
To get the truth. Or you could go to the Gray Zone. They're also on YouTube. The whole of Western media and the Western human rights industrial complex deliberately misrepresented the real character of those riots. But now that the war they helped to instigate is going badly for the United States and Israel, the same media is now free to reveal a few kernels of truth. Just like Jon Stewart is a wit gift, he could give you a few kernels of truth about the Syrian war. Frank Fu, or do you say Frank F. you? Come on, am I right? He says the New York Times confirmation matters. Why? Because it shifts the narrative from conspiracy theory to documented record.
Yep.
What's worth noting, the pattern of Western media covering covert destabilization as spontaneous protest isn't new. It goes back to at least the 2011 Libya coverage. Remember when they said it was the Arab Spring? That was all fake. That was all covert operations funded by the CIA and the Mossad. That's what that was. There was no organic Arab Spring.
Oh, yeah, and a lot of y'all watching for the first time. Hey, guys, do me a favor and follow me if you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, Kick, Rumble, X. Make sure you guys follow while you're watching. All right, guys, let's get back to it. And don't forget to like the video.
Just so you know. It goes back to at least 2011 Libya coverage. The counter argument would be, does Mossad involvement in fomenting unrest delegitimize the genuine grievances of Iranians who participated? Those two things can both be true simultaneously, which is the nuance that tends to get lost.
Yeah.
Here's our good friend.
That's what I'm saying. There could have actually there was actually people who was upset at the government because of the state of the economy. And here's a problem. I mean, those people who could have turned into the revolution that we want so bad to overthrow the regime, well, we just got them shot in the middle of the street due to our interference. And once again, how Western interference just bites us in the ass every goddamn time. Every time, but we just don't learn.
Nick Cruz, and he's got some thoughts on this, that now the New York Times is telling the truth. Let's listen.
The New York Times is finally admitting what we knew all along, that the Iranian protest was a Mossad operation in order to manufacture consent for war. The article claims that.
But couldn't the people actually just be fighting for their country set? Could that actually be it? And as much as I'm making fun of it, yes, it could. But to be honest with you, if you were actually paying attention to Iran, you'd know that no, these protests weren't to overthrow the government or what they wasn't asking for regime change. No, these guys were talking about, yo, fix the economy, bro. Like my paycheck, bro. My finances. Yeah, they had terrible inflation. I mean, they are sanctioned to hell. And we just not only did we put more sanctions, but we also was trying to destroy their currency, which we did successfully, by the way. And when we put in sanctions and all this economic play on a country, I'm gonna be real with you, this hurts the people. And the people are going like, well, shit, you guys got to do something about it. And they were getting to that point where, look, you guys need to talk to America. We don't give a fuck what you do. If we don't honestly let the Iranians cook, let them cook. We'd have got what we wanted if we'd have just let them cook. But for some reason, we just had to go a step further and put bombs on the ground.
Benjamin Netanyahu is frustrated that the Mossad overstated their ability to create regime change and start uprisings in Iran. Their stated plan was to cause an uprising in Iran, which would lead to the toppling of their government. Then all Israel and the United States will have to do at that point is to assassinate a few of the Iranian beloved leaders, and then boom, they can install a Zionist-friendly Iranian government. Meanwhile, anyone who stated this obvious fact that the Iranian protest was a Mossad killer revolution attempt the entire time, they would accuse you of repeating Iranian propaganda. Whenever they
like Cornel West did.
Yep.
Accuse you of repeating the propaganda of their enemy, you might as well assume that you're right on target. But can we talk about the Zionist delusion that they had if they really believed that this plan would work? So their strategy was to infiltrate Iran, murder over 100 police officers, burn down dozens of mosques, and then assassinate their religious leader, essentially their version of their pope, and then expect the Iranian people to welcome them as liberators? Let's be clear, that is not what the ruling class expected to happen. They just simply wanted this war against Iran. And shame on anyone who was caught repeating the Mossad narrative about Iran executing their own people.
We covered it.
I mean, they did execute that wrestler, but video came out and reports came out that wrestler hacked to death a police officer with a machete. That's what I said, hack. Like, the man literally did it with a machete.
You know, it's not only the media. It was also our good friend Cornel West, who just can't stop repeating establishment pro-war talking points. It's just amazing. But there it is. Great job, Nick Cruz. And so now you know the rest of the stories. The conspiracy theorists were right again. And who's telling you that the conspiracy theorists were right again? The New York Times. Of course, they're only 3 months late.
Yeah.
But there it is. So again, the difference between a conspiracy theory and a conspiracy fact now is 3 months.
I mean, here's the thing, though. Before New York Times said this, bro, the leader, like, what was it? I think it was like an ex-leader of the Mossad, an ex-commander in the Mossad or agent in the Mossad. Like, they was literally saying how, yeah, we're actually proud of our operations that we're doing in Iran right now. Like, literally, like, bro, on Israeli TV, literally bragging about their operations in Iran. And then I think it was Mike Pompeo that says, what was it? Oh, the Mossad walks beside you in the streets of Tehran tonight. So literally just admitting to it. So yes, those guys who was just so blatant, they didn't care. Or they're just stupid enough to say it out loud. But yeah, they was telling us what was going on, like at the beginning of this. And a lot of people wanted to ignore it or just didn't see it. But yeah, this was a Mossad operation that failed. Which sucks, because I'm going to be real with you. If it succeeded, we wouldn't be here. But it is what it is. I try to tell y'all.
Just 3 months. So it's getting even nearer. It's even a closer time frame now. So great job by Max Blumenthal. Great job by Nick Cruz. And if you want to hear my jokes about this, come see me in San Antonio, Albuquerque, Houston, Dallas.
And all right, though, let's go get over here to PBD, though. Shout out to PBD.
We just got a report right now, 2 hours ago, from an insider, a good friend, that Rangers said this Sunday they're being deployed, boots on the ground, going out this Sunday.
Yeah.
And they're calling their families, hey, this is what's going on. This is a Ranger. This is not somebody. So listen, we are getting deployed, and they're telling us here's where we're going. So if he's talking like this, that we're negotiating, but on the back end we're sending in, is he trying to deflect and confuse? Is that Trump's line of doing things? Because if he doesn't, and it comes back and it was a nuclear negotiation, and you just killed 50 of their family members, you thought they were angry. You just increased the temperature of anger to a whole different level. That the world, so then the people that were, non-interventionists are going to come out and say, what? I told you shouldn't have gone in the first place. So he's in a very interesting place. But again, I voted for him to, in these situations, to trust the decisions he's making. Let's see what they're going to be doing. Because no matter how much we talk about, guess what we don't have? We don't have all the information. We don't have all the intel.
Oh, guys, do me a favor and like the video, guys, by double tapping that screen. Appreciate the support. Let's get back into it.
On what they're going to be doing. Tom, Rob, did you find that clip?
I'm still looking.
Yeah, it's a clip from 2 days ago where he says that. So if you do find it, let me know. Any thoughts?
Yeah, it's a lot of smoke screens, but I think that's intentional. And I mean, if it's going to follow the patterns of what he's done in the past, it's something he's distraction, confuse people, and then boom, out of nowhere, something swift, fast, and super effective happens. Where I don't think the Tripoli is going to ultimately play a role in whatever happens, because everybody in the world's looking at it, watching it, saying, oh, okay, it's 3 days away now, it's 2 days away now, it's 1 day away now. So I think something different's going to happen aside from that, maybe with Carg Island. But no, there's no way that we just make a deal with them now, because that would be a worse situation than we went into in the first place. So it's like what goes from a extremist hostile regime to a pissed off extremist hostile regime, with oil at a higher price and with all the infrastructure for oil halfway damaged. So yeah, no, you have to go all the way now. No half measures.
Tom.
Yeah. I hate it because, I like that Maduro was in and out. I liked that I thought we had conducted a precision bombing up in the hills and had gotten to some nuclear facilities. And now there's a little part of me that's like, here we go again, weapons of mass destruction, except that now we can see a missile going 4,000 miles. We see one. And you can't have that, right? Now that you have a missile, it's like North Korea. When you have an ability to throw a missile this far, now you're just scared to death on what kind of a bomb can be on top of it. Now you have trouble.
Right.
And so I'm with it. We got to finish this up. We have to do it. We see the reports that the USS Tripoli is there. The USS Boxer, which we brought up on this podcast first, has left San Diego a week ago and is en route. It's still over.
All right, though, guys. I got to head out on this one. I do appreciate y'all for tuning in, guys. Make sure y'all double tap the screen, like the video on y'all way out. Make sure you subscribe to the channel as well. We're going to go ahead and leave out from a word from our partner, my guys at Kalshi. If you want to go ahead and take advantage of this deal, when you trade 20, you get $20 back. And I'm going to go ahead and leave you, like I said, leave you with my guys from Kalshi. And you can use the promo code S.E.T Media. This is Set from S.E.T Media, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Peace. Yo, this is Set with S.E.T Media, man. I'm here to talk to you about our partner, Kalshi. Kalshi is the largest legal prediction market in the United States with over 1 million users. It's available in all 50 states. They are a real money market. People trading on what they think will happen. You can build a position and trade in and out of almost any prediction you think. Kalshi facilitates trade between people, kind of like the stock market. There's no limiting your trades just because you're winning. Kalshi will pay you interest on your position. So if you make a long-term trade, you can earn a return even before the market is resolved. If you want to try out Kalshi, go ahead and give them a try, guys, at my link, kalshi.com/setmedia. Get $20 when you trade 20, so it's 20 for 20, guys. Once again, that's kalshi.com/setmedia. Go ahead and use my code SETmedia to get $20 when you trade 20. Let's go ahead and take a look here at Kalshi, because like I said, it is a trading market where you can put in your prediction and you can go ahead and earn interest on that. You can make money off the knowledge that you know, and if you put $20 in, you get $20 back. So all right, guys, make sure to go check out my guy at Kalshi, because you can get in on good trades like who will Trump nominate as Fed chair, will Ali Khamenei be outed as the supreme leader, and will the U.S. confirm that aliens exist before 2027. So if you want to get in on this action, once again, go ahead and go to my partners at Kalshi. Go ahead and use the link, or you can hit the QR code above and use SET Media to go ahead and get $20 when you trade 20. This is Set from SET Media, and shout out to Kalshi.